Hello and welcome to this final project on Microsoft Office 365. So throughout the semester, we learned some very advanced skills in the four main aspects of Microsoft Office. So there's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. Today, we're going to utilize each of the most useful skills to us in our business from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access, and we're going to explain how we use them in our business for this end of the year. So we're approaching Christmas time. We wanted to do a quick analysis of our business throughout the year. So we're going to use first a survey in Word, then we're going to use pivot tables, pivot charts, and problem solving capabilities of Excel in order to do a kind of end of year summary. Then there's Access, in which we're going to use all the database skills we learned to classify, store, and analyze the information. And first of all, before doing all that, we're going to show you a quick preview of all the things we completed with a photo album created in PowerPoint. Here it is. So first of all, the first thing we did is we created a Christmas survey. We're going to go into more details in just a few moments. Then we also used the customers we had over the year, and we added some new customers that we didn't enter yet in our database on Excel to create a pivot chart, pivot table, and some slicers in order to select different data. Finally, we created a problem solving kind of problem here in order to find out the desired total profit and by design, basically. Finally, we're going to go into Access in the end to show you how we classify the data throughout the year. In the textbook, Microsoft Office 365 Advanced version, we first learned to work with Microsoft Word. More specifically, in our business, we incorporated the skills learned in Chapter 10 and 11, where we learned to create and format a form. So, with these skills, we were able to create a Christmas survey. Some of the skills used were to change the paper size, to add page color, to insert and format an icon graphic, as well as a 3D model, to use a table to control layout, to show the developer tab, to insert different content controls, we'll show you in just a minute, to edit placeholder text, to change properties of content controls, to insert and format a rectangle shape, to restrict editing, to filling in a form, to open a new document based on a template, and finally to fill in a form. So yeah, the first step for us was to create the form. Then we inserted the content controls. So for example, the date, the name of the person has to fill in the form. And the last step was to enhance with the formatting. And since it's the end of the year, we're in December, we use really the Christmas theme for our customer to enjoy it better. Here is the Christmas form that is beautifully formatted. We changed the font, the page color in the background. Here we inserted some icons, so to really stay in the theme. This is a 3D model. This is fun because we can put it how we want. We can angle it a certain way to make it look better. So this survey in particular was for some possible new projects. Right now, we're offering a certain discount for people who are scheduling a project with us for over the next summer. So we have some different kind of questions. Let us know about your future backup projects and email it to us basically, and we're going to respond right away in order to schedule our next summer. The budget for the project, and there we can choose a price range with a drop-down list, a region as well. We can choose a region. We have the different services offered. We can mark those, and finally click the date. Thank you for your response. So using these skills, for us, it's a better way to get info from our customers on what exactly they want for their projects. That's how we use forms from Microsoft Word. Moving on to Excel, we learned the skills Moving on to Excel, we use the skills learned in Chapter 8 and Chapter 9 to really engage in analysis of our company since we're entering into the next fiscal year. So we wanted to analyze basically our sales, our expenses from different customers into basically from different variables, either the region, the design used to create those patios and all those poolside terraces we did over the summer. And we also had some new data because our Christmas survey that we sent out to people paid off. 25 new customers responded to the survey and responded with their budget as well for the next year. So using the different budgeted future projects, we were able to incorporate some new data to our already large data set of customers to really analyze what it will look like for us in the next few months. So we worked with pivot tables and pivot charts, and we also worked with a problem solver in order to figure out how much sales we need by design in our company over the next summer to attain our goal. So let's move on to Excel. Here's our Excel spreadsheet containing all the different data of our customers. So in green, we have the 100 customers we did projects for over the last year. And in red, all the customers who responded to our Christmas survey and have told us about their future projects they want to complete. So in this data set, we have different fields. We have the ID of the customers, their first and last names, their email, their gender. We have the sales of the projects completed in green, and then the budget of future projects in red. We have the region of where the people are at, the design that they want for their project, the profit margin of each project, and finally the net profit, or the expected net profit in the case of the future customers. With this data set, we were able to complete a beautiful pivot table that uses the variables of region and customer names, basically, to select different data. We can see if we drop down the list for Lac Beauport, we can see all the customers in Lac Beauport. We can see the chart changes as well. Here we have the sum of the sales, the average profit margin, the sum of profit, and here the sum of expenses is a calculated field. Basically, we did the sales minus the profit, which gives us the expenses and the sum as well for each region. It's really easy for us that way to compare, to see the grand total, and using the pivot chart, we can see the data more visually. If we click on classical style for the design, we can see that, for example, here in Lac Beauport, we didn't do a lot of classical designs in Lac Beauport, but the profit margin was really high for those projects. So using this data, we can choose for future projects what's more profitable, depending by region, what's more popular. We have another variable for the region. So we can click on Lévis. If we take off all of those, we have only Lac Beauport-Stoneham. We can see the total of those two for only the classical design. We can put all those designs, and here the chart changes automatically. So yeah, it's a really a nice way to compare different regions, different projects, and it's a good tool for us for our future projects of what to use. After completing a beautiful pivot chart and a pivot table, we moved on to problem solving. So we used here the solver function in order to help us find out the desired profit by design and the desired sales by design. So we have different variables. Here, as you can see, we took the percentages that we found out with the pivot table, and we found out that we had less profit on the projects which used the modern style. So we decided for next year that we don't want any sales to be in this with this particular design, since our profit margins are smaller. We wanted the minimum sales in the Mediterranean and the contemporary styles to be at least $3 million, since they have the highest profit margins. So using the solver functions, we can input those constraints. For example, here the B5 is larger than the B3. This means that the desired sales have to be at least larger or equal to the minimum sales. Then we have another constraint here that the B5 to F5, so which means the desired sales by margin have to be integers. So we wanted the dollar amounts to be rounded up, at least rounded to no cents at the end. All those different constraints, and we can attain a result. So in this case, we wanted the desired profit to be 3 million, and this equals to the sum of all the profit by designs. So this is a really complex problem, but with a few simple clicks and constraints, we can attain our results. Here we have the continuous reports, so we didn't use the integer constraint. We found out some different results than in the integer report. So it's an easy way to solve different problems, to see different solutions as well. And it works very well for us in our business. In the access section of this textbook, we learned some different skills ranging from the macros to creating a main menu, to creating reports, forms, and queries. So we mixed all of those skills learned together in order to create a new access database to summarize the end of year analysis of our company by still formatting it to match the Christmas spirit. So we first imported the new data from our Excel document. Then we moved on and we created some tables, some forms, some basic queries, as well as some reports to classify the data in the different forms, different types of data classification tools. Then we formatted the database once again to match the Christmas spirit. And finally, we created some macros in order to view the forms and the reports more faster, more easily, and to have all of those in the same spot, which is the main menu. So when we first open the document, the first thing that pops up is the main menu. And from here, we can access all of the forms. If we click here on Open Customer Form, opens automatically. We can navigate the different fields. As we can see, there's 125 records. All of those forms work. So we have some different forms. The customer form, which contains all the customer information. The expenses by design. So as you can see, we included the design field to be able to compare the different data. And this is also ordered by alphabetical order and in the design field. There's also the North Region Projects form. This is basically only Stone-Beauport. Since they're more in the north, we wanted to analyze this geographical section. And finally, the salesperson form. We'll look more into the queries themselves because we used SQL programming language, and this is a really interesting part of Access. Then there's the reports. Once again, the beautiful formatting matched with the Christmas theme. We have the different reports. So customer report. Here we have a button that automatically downloads the customer report as a PDF. That's something we can do with a macro. If the sales over $120,000 report, with the total at the end, the sum of all the sales of the large projects. And finally, we also can download this report with the biggest projects. Here are the really simple macros to open and download some forms and reports. We use the sum macro function, then we name it Open Customers Form. We then use the Open Form function in the database object action. We can then choose the form name, which is customer's form, and the view as a form. Read-only mode, this gives us, and then we end the sub macro. This simple macro, we then assign it to the command button in the form, and we can repeat the process for all of those macros. It's really a simple and easy way to navigate the database effectively and fastly. In our business, SQL, a language in Access, provides us the ability to create queries fastly and choosing all the different fields we want, using to sorting the results easily, to include the simple and compound criterias, to use aggregate functions, to group the results, to join tables. So SQL is a great tool for us. We have used it to create four queries that each have a different function and serve a purpose, basically. Here in the customer query, we selected all the fields that we wanted, all the customer information. This was used to create the customer form, by the way, this query. Then we have the from the different tables, and we ordered up by the region and the profit margin by descending order. So if we view the results, we can see that it's sorted by region, and the profit margin is always descending. That's an easy way for us to look at the data. The expenses by design here is used to see basically this is a calculated field, the sales minus the profit, which gives us the expenses of the project. And we ordered the results of the customers by the customer design, first of all, and then by the expenses in an ascending order. As you can see here, we have the ID field, the design field, the profit margin, the last name, and the expenses. Here, the design is classified in alphabetical order, and the expenses are ordered in ascending order. Once again, really easy to look. Gives us the opportunity to create a form, a report after, to look at the data more effectively. Then we have the North Region Projects query. This was used to basically select only fields from Stoneham or Lac-Beauport, so in the north of Quebec, or more in the north, basically. We also we used the where function because we wanted to select those fields where the customer budget or sales was higher than $100,000. So it's really straightforward, but once you get to learn it, it gets quick to complete those queries, to classify the data. Here, for the last different query, we included the customer ID, customer email, customer sales, and the salesperson from the customers table and the salesperson table, and where the budget or the sales was higher, so we used a greater than comparison tool, $120,000. So as you can see, if you view the results, only the sales over $120,000. So yeah, that's how we use the SQL language in Microsoft Access. This is it for the computers courses. Obviously, we learned some very useful skills in the Microsoft suite. We were able to put them to use in our business, and we're really happy about the work we done. Forbes, I hope you're as proud as I am of the work I did. I learned a lot under your supervision. So I thank you very much for all your teachings. Thank you.